and I have to imagine you guys are pretty excited about what's about to happen. This transformation in the press room. We understand from Caroline Levitt, the incoming press secretary, that she's going to open up those some of those seats to unconventional media, and I have to imagine that would include folks like podcasters.
It's about time. I give a lot of credit to Sean Spicer for what he did at the beginning of Trump's first term. Remember, he tried these Skype seats where individuals. The Daily Signal was a beneficiary later in the Trump's first term of accompanying the vice president on a couple of trips where we served as the pool reporter. That means we were given the opportunity to report back to the rest of the media in the White House about what the vice president was doing on those particular trips. And so I think that they've taken some important steps during the first term, but Caroline can certainly come in and shake things up even more dramatically. And I think it's overdue. And Todd, I'll tell you why, because in August of 2023, they kicked the Daily Signal and about 440 other reporters out of the White House press briefing room. And I think it's time for Donald Trump to bring some of those people who were given the boot an opportunity to have a seat in the room once again.
And this isn't a matter of just, giving a friend, a step up here. We're talking about a situation where most people are now getting their news from places like the Daily Signal, from X, and not the New York Times or the Washington Post here. We're talking about an audience and reaching an audience.
That's right. And that's why I'm in favor of not removing anybody. I think it would be a mistake for Trump to tell members of the establishment or legacy media that they're no longer welcome. Now, it is a small room, so you've got to figure out a way to accommodate everybody. Maybe you don't have seats and maybe it's standing room only. I'm not exactly sure how you solve that problem, but you're absolutely correct. We need to be recognizing that in this year, 2025, there are individuals who don't work for those big corporate media giants who deserve a seat in the press room. And in some cases, they're podcasters. In other case, they might be social media influencers.
And Rob, those are not very glamorous accommodations. During my years at Fox, I was our fill-in White House correspondent, and my office was literally a tiny little closet. And the only benefit was I was literally right next to the hazmat suits, which they had piled up into the corner. So if we came under attack, at least I was in a good spot there. But those are pretty darn cramped quarters.
They certainly are. And that's why there are some who say, just boot them out of the White House altogether, take them over to the old executive office building or some other space, bring the White House pool back. Remember, that space used to be a swimming pool before it was converted into the press room. But yeah, so no, I've seen the space, Todd. I know what you're referring to. Having that close proximity to the president and his staff is a privilege. And too often, these White House reporters have abused it. You'll remember that Trump had two big run-ins with people like Jim Acosta and others during the first term, where he tried to remove them or at least ban them temporarily from the White House premises, and they lost those cases in court. And so I think he needs to proceed with a direction where, again, I stress, you don't want to necessarily be limiting anybody, but you want to open up the opportunity to more people.